Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. I'm pissed. I'm pissed with this Phillies team. Shocker. I am frustrated with the team that plays on the diamond. And here's what I know. If you feel the need to look at it with this perspective, you're wrong. Well, at least they split. No. They left so much meat on the bones. This is a joke. There's no way in hell that they should have walked out of Citi Field with only 2 victories. And it's all because of self-inflicted wounds. And what Rhys Hoskins had to say really ticked me off the most. And if you did not hear, he basically, after he fucking blew it with a horrendous play at first base, which forced Hector Neris to have to get more outs because Rhys Hoskins is a pathetic defender. He had the audacity to look at the media after the game and say, make sure you write about the good stuff too. And I know that was the one quote that went flying around, and there was more to it. When you look at the more substance to the quote, I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically saying, Zach Eflin outdueled Jacob Degrom, and we did so many good things, and we had a chance to win it. I know you're going to crush me for the poor defensive play. That's fine, but make sure you talk about the good stuff with this team too. And my response to that is, we don't have to talk about anything other than what we want to talk about. This team is not good, Rhys. You are playing a horrendous brand of baseball majority of the time. You're in 4th place in this division, and the only team you're better than right now is the Miami Marlins. So who do you think you are? And by the way, when you talk to Jim Salisbury, when you talk to Todd Zalecki, when you talk to all these beat reporters, Scott Lauber of the Philadelphia Inquirer, all these media members that cover the team, did you think they weren't going to mention Zach Eflin pitching better than Jacob Degrom in that one specific outing? To be clear, I am not saying that Zach Eflin is a better pitcher than Jacob Degrom. But in that specific game, one pitcher allowed 1 earned run. The other pitcher allowed 2 earned runs, which was very bizarre considering. Here's Nick Maton. I mean, look, the Phillies did what they needed to do. They had to get timely hits. So here's Andrew McCutchen getting a hit. He steals second base, and you find a way there. Now, they left runs out there. Bryce Harper at one point was on second base. They could not get him in. There was the 6th inning where there was bases loaded. They only got 1 run in that scenario. So there was plenty of more opportunities to score. But going up against Jacob Degrom, knowing that you split the doubleheader the day before, and knowing how many earned runs this man has allowed, which is very, very few, you need to pounce on those, and you need to get the minor hits that you could get. And here they go. They get a lead, and they get the run score that they needed to on Jacob Degrom, which was just mind-blowing, and they pissed it all away. Here's some statistics for the defensive runs saved, by the way. Alec Boehm is minus 13 in that department, and Rhys Hoskins is minus 7. This is loser baseball is what it is. So Rhys Hoskins saying that we need to focus on the good things. No, we don't. We need to focus on why you're bad. We need to focus on why this team only has 13, 14, 15,000 fans in a stadium that, well, this world just went through a global pandemic. Everyone's finally allowed to go to baseball games again, and you are having problems getting fans in Citizens Bank Park. Let's talk about that. Well, it's because you guys are not playing very well and not putting it together. So we're going to focus on that, and that's okay. So I'm truly sick hearing Rhys Hoskins talk about it that way because it's just unfair. It's unfair to us as fans. It's unfair to us as media members, and unfair to the media members that are covering the beat for the Phillies. It's absolutely 1,000% acceptable to talk about all of your issues. Like, who do you think you are after the day before, may I add, Rhys, that you had a ball thrown to you by Jose Alvarado, and you lost the ball in the sun when you were wearing your sunglasses on the top of your hat. So in 2 straight games, you were a problem. You were an issue. Don't tell me what I'm allowed to talk about and what I should be talking about. I come up with that. That's my job. You don't tell me what to do. So out of touch, out of line, not reading the room, and not reading the pulse of the fan base, considering you guys have played bad baseball, and you guys have underachieved, and you guys can't even make simple standard baseball plays majority of the time. So yeah, you know what? We're in the right. This team plays dumb baseball, right? So if you look at what happened with Maton in the victory, the 4-2 victory with Zach Wheeler giving you 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, and he was smooth all around. I mean, we could go through the repertoire of pitchers if you'd like, but it's the same damn story for the most part when it's Zach Wheeler. He was sensational, and you could tell that Marcus Stroman was not locked in early, a lot of missed locations, and he was mouthing to himself and talking to himself on the mound, and you could tell that he was trying to almost talk himself back into throwing better pitches and back into hitting his locations and looking for his command, and he was all over the map. And, I don't think it's ironic that we saw the outcome that we did. Even though late, here comes Archie Bradley allowing a bomb, and Jose Alvarado prior to him allowing a run there as well, which is the bullpen being the Phillies bullpen, allowing some runs. This team plays dumb baseball. Nick Maton getting super lucky at third base, getting caught, but he was able to get back. It should not happen. In the third game of this series, Luke Williams going to third base, 9th inning. He ends up trying to slide into third for a stolen base. He doesn't get that done. Joe Girardi, what are we doing here where we're trying to outthink ourselves here? We're trying to overmanage. Taking Zach Eflin out of the game after you allowed for him to bunt the previous inning is just pathetic. And oh, by the way, Ranger Suarez comes in and gets rocked. I mean, he gets rocked. And there's a pinch hit home run. How many times have we talked this year of a pinch hitter having a huge home run? Darren Ruff, and this past weekend against the Mets in Citi Field. I mean, it's nonstop. This team gets destroyed with pinch hit. Pablo Sandoval, pinch hit home run. That's a problem. That's telling me that the wrong decisions are being made if it happens over and over and over again. And at this point, there's enough of a track record to see that these pinch hitters are stepping in and rocking the relievers that Joe Girardi is putting out there. Now, granted, sometimes it's because, well, your relievers are what they are, and there's only so many guys available on that given day and whatnot. But going to Ranger Suarez there was a move that was not needed. Zach Eflin was fine. You just allowed for him to bat the inning before, which is a disastrous decision if you're not going to keep him in the game at all. So what is Joe Girardi doing? It's the simple things. I watched Alec Boehm in the last game of this series. I know I'm bouncing around here, but there's a blooper that's in between him and Andrew McCutchen. I know Tom McCarthy wanted to go with the narrative of that was someone in no man's land, but if you watch Alec Boehm, he doesn't try. He gives up. He doesn't think he has it. But that's awful. That's one of the reasons why Alec Boehm continues to struggle and has a -13 defensive run saved. That's why, because he can't properly assess going to certain balls and catching fly balls and tracking pop-ups and being able to charge a ground ball and make a proper throw and set his feet every single area defensively. And I think it's hilarious because, not actually hilarious, but hilarious in terms of this, where before the season began, I claimed I'm a little nervous. I don't feel comfortable. I'm scared of what we're going to see defensively. Oh, stop it. He had plenty of time to work on his game. He had plenty of time to work at the hot corner, knowing that's where he was going to be playing and knowing he needed to take steps in the direction defensively. Oh, yeah? He's awful. Alec Boehm is pathetic defensively. And there's a huge difference, by the way, of being pathetic defensively and being able to produce offensively and what Alec Boehm is doing. And what I mean by that is, while he's had a nice June and he had an RBI in Game 4 in this series in the 4-2 win, I watch Alec Boehm at the plate. He's got 4 home runs. 4 home runs. Now he can go the other way with it nicely. He can hit with 2 strikes nicely. And this is all, keep in mind, when he's at the top of his game. There's plenty of times where he's all over the map. And he's a young player, I'm understanding. He has 4 home runs. Fernando Tatis Jr., and I'm not telling you Alec Boehm is at that level because it's clear he's not, and no one ever thought that he was, but my man's got 25 dingers for all the errors that he makes at shortstop. I could live with that if you're now producing on the other side. With Rhys Hoskins, I'll be honest with you, we probably could live with his defense if Alec Boehm was not playing third and you had a capable third baseman. The combination of the two is garbage, and with Rhys Hoskins leading the team in home runs and actually producing on that side, it's probably not as bad. But I have the problem when you run your mouth and you try and talk that talk when you're consistently ruining this team's chances to win in ninth innings and in late inning situations and back-to-back games right before you made those comments. That's where it irks me alive a bit. But without Alec Boehm, if you had a Nolan Arenado or just, I don't know why I just went to the extreme of a third baseman, arguably the best third baseman we have in the game right now. If you just had a standard, normal third baseman that can operate at just an average level, yeah, we're probably not stressing the Rhys Hoskins problem so much. It's the combination of everybody out there on the field that just makes boneheaded decisions, and it seems to be somewhat contagious. If it's one guy, then it's two, then it's three, then it's four. I mean, remember, at one point, Andrew McCutchen was dropping balls that hit him in the palm of his hand, or he was timing the ball at the wall wrong, and he was 2 inches too late, or he was way off and he couldn't track a baseball where he's jumping at the right time, but he's jumping 2 inches to the left and the ball is hitting off the wall, and he was a disaster. So, just kind of all around. But yeah, I mean, with Alec Boehm, he's got 4 home runs. What type of hitter were we promised? We were promised more than 4 home runs this deep into a season. He's on pace for what? Like 8 or 9 home runs? What are we talking about here? I expect way more out of Alec Boehm, more than just the average, and more than just the average in June specifically. We were told more, and I demand more out of Alec Boehm. The problem is we talk about the DH, and we talk about trading Rhys, and we talk about who's going to move to first, and this and that. So we're going to move Rhys and put Alec Boehm at first, who's a garbage defender. You're fixing your garbage defender by putting a garbage defender in there. And sure, the DH plays a role in the National League if it ever does come this way. But yeah, I mean, it's annoying, and I don't know what's going to change with this franchise. I'm watching Joe Girardi just make god-awful decisions every single night. Neris walked in the tying run. That was hilarious. Keep in mind, there was a pitch there that was super close. It was close, but I could see why the umpire called it a ball. And I could see why he would have maybe called that a strike. But my thing is, you can't leave it up to the umpires. If it's too close and it's maybe not, and I would lean towards saying it was probably not a strike to walk in that tying run, well, that means you got to make a better pitch there, Hector Neris. I don't know where we're going with this closer role. Joe Girardi claims it's going to be Jose Alvarado. Then Jose Alvarado is pitching in the 8th, and Archie Bradley's closing it out. I have no idea the message. Once again, it's the dysfunction. I could tie this back to what Matt Moore said the other day. Well, I think I'd be trying to get back into a starting role, right? I think that's what they have planned for me. I mean, it only makes sense. AAA, and now I'm working my way back into things. And Joe Girardi goes, I don't know what Matt Moore is. I have no idea what Matt Moore is. I'm going to figure it out, but I have no idea. Nobody's on the same page in this franchise, and it's telling, and it shows when you watch them play baseball, unfortunately, because it's a very disturbing thing. So it's just crazy, because heading into this, if you split on the road against the Mets, you'd probably be okay with that, but it's not reality. It's not at all. They had chances to maybe win 3 of 4. They had chances to basically go 4 of 4. And I know that's wild, and that's not something that you could demand or expect, but they actually had that. That's something that is serious. It's a conversation to have. They had a chance to win 4 games. They did. They came out with 2. That's the difference. What did Ruben Amaro Jr. say on the post-game show? Winning teams find ways to win. Losing teams find ways to lose. This team loses over and over and over again because they find different, unique ways to do it. They punch themselves in the mouth. They shoot themselves in the foot. They do it to themselves. It's all self-inflicting wounds where, guess what? And I don't want this to fool you because, this could be looked at in a positive way, but it's not a positive thing. This team has chances to win in 8th, 9th innings. This team is having the lead. They're having the lead, and then they piss it all away. But I don't want people to look at that as, well, they're not that far. No, they are far because their defense, you can't win anything serious with the way that they play defense. You can't win anything serious when your closer role is now all up in the air and we're having debates if we should try Vince Velasquez or Spencer Howard. Once that dialogue starts throwing up out of your mouth, you're already done. You're already lost and your franchise is already abysmal. If you're really having the debate on who should be involved, that closer role, Howard or Velasquez. And, I hear that all over the place. Well, because it's a serious question mark. Nobody knows who's closing games. So don't look at it as that means they're close. They just need to tweak a couple things. Tweaking a couple things. Adding a whole new bullpen. Fixing your first baseman. Fixing your third baseman. Look, Torreyes has stepped into a nice role, but shortstop is clearly still a problem long term, even though Bryson Stott in theory could be that guy, but you signed Didi, and Didi's not there. Bryce Harper, by the way. Bryce Harper ends up getting hit with the pitch in the foot. He leaves the game. He's not available on Sunday. You win that game anyway. Luckily, Zach Wheeler was your dog on that night. Not that he's not. I'm saying he was. Luckily, it was his spot in the rotation. I trust for him every time he's on the mound, even though he did have a hiccup recently. I feel great every time he gets the ball. My thing is, just luckily his spot in the rotation came up. Just in pain. I'm in pain. I'm in pain watching this team because it feels like a chore more than it does anything else, and it should not feel that way at all. What doesn't feel like a chore is using DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code BRODES when you sign up. There's plenty of promotions and odds available. That's promo code BRODES for a limited time for some of these odds and promotions. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Wager paid out. Insight credit. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, I do want to, before we head on over to the Anytime Hotline, I want to stress a little bit more on this Rhys Hoskins thing because, there was a play this weekend on this Sunday game where it was a ball that was smoked down the first base side. Rhys Hoskins dives. He tries his best to make the play. He does it, and all I see online is it was a tough play. It was a tough play. It was a tough play. Look, here's real reality. They're tough plays because it's Rhys Hoskins. I watch baseball players in Major League Baseball make plays all the time, diving, make plays all the time, having an excellent effort and extending, and full body is extended, arms, legs, everything, because it's the major leagues. How come with Rhys Hoskins every time it's, well, that was a tough play. Well, it was smoked. Well, it was this. Well, it was that. We're only saying that because it's Rhys. This is Major League Baseball. Making tough plays is simple plays. That separates you from major leagues to AA to AAA to these minor leagues to college baseball to everything involved in moving up the ranks in baseball. Making the tough plays should become second nature. It should become basic. It should become standard. Tough defensive plays in Major League Baseball is the norm. So I'm no longer giving Rhys free passes for a ball being smoked down the first base side and him not getting there and him being lined up wrong and him being in weird spots on the field. It's like, what are you doing? How come you constantly have balls going through your leg, or you getting beat down the first base side, or you're not squared up properly and you're not squaring your body up the right way? It's always something with Rhys where I can't live with, well, it was a tough play. If you're an elite defender and sometimes that happens, fine. I can live with it then because, 49 out of 50 times I can rely on you to make the play. But if we're talking about 20 out of 50 times I can rely on you to make the play, you get no benefit of the doubt. One of the reasons why the ball got by is because you're just flat out horrendous defending. That's what it is. It's not because it's a tough play and it was smoked. It's because you stink. You stink in that area. And I think it's inevitable that Rhys Hoskins gets traded. The problem here, too, is he's your leader in the clubhouse. I don't want that to be the case. I'm not knocking him for stepping up into that role. That's something I probably didn't anticipate, him being that much of a vocal point at any point in his career to this level. So it's nice to know that he had the balls to step up at the same time. And this is more maybe a testament to everybody else, but Bryce Harper, Didi, not here though, injured, Andrew McCutchen, JT. The fact that it's Rhys Hoskins, that irks me a little bit because it shouldn't. There's other guys here that it should be. And it's Rhys Hoskins. And it's inevitable that he's going to get moved, I believe. And if that's the case, you're losing a big piece of your vocal leadership. He's not a leader on the field defensively, though, and that's caused you so many problems where I'm okay with trading Rhys because I think you can get value. I don't trust the people making the moves. I don't trust the owner. I don't trust the owner. And I don't know how much anyone in the front office has in terms of say because I'm watching this go in the wrong direction since 2012. It's been since 2012, since we've seen a playoff game. We are in the territory of the Seattle Mariners. There's a bigger issue here, and I'm starting to pull back the layers a bit more, and I'm not satisfied with just blaming Joe. I'm not satisfied with just blaming Dave Dombrowski, even though they have not been as smooth as I thought they would be to this point. Dave Dombrowski hasn't had that much of an opportunity yet, but still, not loving the two as a duo to this point. I got to start laying back or peeling back the layers to see why this is continuing to happen, even though I will continue to criticize Joe because he's just been, wow. Has he ever managed it in his life? And Joe Girardi's too good for me to be asking that question, so I'll keep dialing it back to what's the bigger issue here.
Yo, what up, bros? This fucking Phillies team is a disgrace. They're fucking embarrassing. They just find ways to lose games. Bad teams find ways to lose games, and good teams find ways to win games. And this team is just a bad team, and there's no way we make the playoffs. We have no momentum. The team is dead. Our bullpen is awful. Rhys Hoskins can't make a play. Alec Bohm can't make a play, and this team is going nowhere. Like you say, you're never going to see good baseball again, and it's probably true because this Phillies team is just ass.
They are ass, and they're a long ways away from not being ass. Don't tell me, well, you have Bryce and you have JT. Bryce hasn't been available. You know, I saw this tweet from Corey Seidman, and I screenshotted it because I totally wanted to bring it up. That is a picture of my dog who just got shaved today. This is the tweet. Okay. Entering today. Nope, that was not the right one. Did I screenshot it? Well, this is just terrible. This is just bad execution by me. My phone's slow now, and it's causing me all sorts of issues. My app's just randomly closing. It is great. Okay, we're going to continue to do this, though. We're going to battle through things. All right, so Corey Seidman. Bryce Harper is day-to-day with the Phillies. Will be reevaluated tomorrow in Cincinnati. We got 2, but we could have had 4, was how Joe Girardi summed up the weekend series. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Zach Wheeler, 2.49 ERA and 177 in the third innings as a Philly has been ridiculous. You are correct. Okay, maybe we don't have it. Okay, sorry for that. I apologize. Today's game is the Phillies' 75th of the season, and the 20th Bryce Harper has missed. He's dealt with 5 different injuries in these first 3 months. You know, it just seems over and over again we're having the conversation of something's wrong with Bryce Harper. Now, when you get hit in the face with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball or get skimmed in the face, it ends up hitting your wrist and you have those type of problems, you know, that's out of your control. But, you know, there's plenty of things that are in his control. Now, he got hit in the foot with this pitch, and that ended up causing him a lot of issues, clearly enough pain to get him off the field. But in a big-time situation, you know, I don't know the extent of it. If it was just a little bruise and he'll be playing against Cincinnati, then clearly it wasn't that much of an issue. And I'm a little disturbed that he took himself out of the game if that was the case. And if it's something more serious, then it's more understandable. I don't know right now. I don't have the knowledge of how brutal it was. But if he plays in Cincinnati and plays in this next series after that one game that's on Monday, well, guess what? Well, you know, what are we doing here? You know, it wasn't that fast of a pitch. It was an off-speed pitch that hit him in the foot. I don't know. Are we babying him at this point? Is it now where we're babying Bryce Harper because we're so nervous about every time something happens with him, every time he's nicked up, and you're thinking of the longevity? I'm okay with thinking of the longevity, but I think at some point, you can't cross the line of being too outrageous with it and all. So we'll see. At that point, too, Bryce Harper does have a lot to say because he is the $330 million man. So if he feels the discomfort and if he doesn't feel right and if he doesn't think he's putting his team in the best position by being out there, then he's the one calling the shots and making those calls. So, there is that side of it as well. But, this Phillies team sucks. This Phillies team is not fun. They lose. They lose baseball games because they're losers. And that's what we're going to continue to watch for the rest of the way. They're not going to pull a Washington Nationals and become a great baseball team. And not that I think this Nationals is fully great. They're going on a nice run. Every team goes on a run to some degree. It was 6 of 8 for the Phillies before they went on that West Coast trip. But over 162, you've seen it enough. You've seen how disastrous they are. And it's real. It's real. It's not a lie. This is real. This is who they are. Sucks.
Let me ask everybody a legit question. Do you really think Matt Klentak will ever GM a franchise ever again after the bullpen he's put together before resigning? My answer, no. Dombrowski's got a long, long time to clean up after that clown. Hector Neris blows it again. We got to keep trying to figure out our closer. You just got to keep figuring something out. We got to go for the split tomorrow. I'm out.
Okay, so that call was before these games play. I guess that was after go for the split tomorrow. When was that? Go for the split tomorrow. Oh, okay, so that was after Game 3 when they lost and they were down 2-1, and he was looking for the split for Game 4. Okay, I was just trying to process that because they split the doubleheader, and that made my brain somewhat all jumbled up, and my brain is jumbled up right now. I did a way too much today, but I definitely wanted to talk about the Phils. So, one thing that really stood out to me at the end of that call, we've really got to start trying to figure out all these things and find the answers and find the solutions. There is no solution. There's no solution. That's the problem with this baseball team. We have to figure this out. Figure what out? When you're a bad team, you're a bad team. There's no figuring it out. Sam Coonrod, Archie Bradley, Alvarado, Hector Neris. You're going to bitch and complain about those players whenever they blow up because they're not all going to be sustainable. They can't defend. Where are you changing that? And if your answer is, well, at the deadline, they're not going to be buyers at the deadline. Why would they be buyers at the deadline? So moral of the story here is they are what they are. It is what it is. We'll go back to a combination of, was that Andy McPhail who said that a couple seasons ago? And a combination of Ben Simmons. It is what it is. They are what they are. So it's either you're going to embrace this, because I feel like an idiot. I know what's going to happen. I know how brutal some of these games are going to be and how disastrous it is, yet I watched them. I watched them all 9 innings. Now, it feels different when you know Zach Wheeler's on the bump and you know he's going to give you 7 strong, 8 Ks, and you know it's going to get interesting even though you have a lead. And Torreyes had some hits. Nick Maton had some hits. Hell, Andrew McCutchen had some hits also. And it irks me, too, to go back to this where I'm looking at the box score after games. What names do I see? Maton, Torreyes, and then, some of the guys that we anticipated stepping up, either hurt, not in the lineup, or JT's going 0 for 5. And, I'm not crushing JT, but I'll be honest with you. And I said this from the jump. I said this before the contract even went out. You don't spend that much money on a catcher. It's one of the reasons why this team is being held back. You put that much money in a catcher. Is he the best catcher in baseball? Yeah, probably. There's a reason why people went after McCann. There's a reason why JT Realmuto's his market wasn't as popping as you thought it would for being the best player in a specific position. He's a nice player, and he's good based off of his position. Good for a catcher. Just overrated, though, in general, and spending that much money. It's overrated to spend that much money at the position. especially when I'm watching games this season where Zach Wheeler's pitching to Andrew Knapp and they have that connection, and Zach Eflin's preferring Andrew Knapp, and we're talking about maybe Andrew Knapp calling a better game than what you get out of JT Realmuto, which is just sad if that's the case, that we're even having that dialogue, and we are. I don't love it. I don't love it.
This is about the bottom of the ninth leadoff play. And Hoskins did what he had to do, like right off the bat on a hard line drive ball like that hit on the ground. Kept it in front, but he didn't run to the ball, pick it up, and then make the play, make the out. And also the bases loaded walk, the ball was inside. He might have would have got it if he'd been throwing close to the plate before it, but he didn't. And all I watched was the bottom of the ninth.
The bottom of the ninth, the classic bottom of the ninth. We're back to, and it wasn't this way all season. I'll admit that. It wasn't. Now, recently, it's starting to intensify, but it's starting to get you every time a starting pitcher gets yanked, you think worst case scenario. Every time a starter is no longer in the game, you think you're going to get shelled and the team is going to give up some runs because, well, it consistently happens now where it's not just the closer role. It's starting to get to any time. Ranger Suarez gets lit up, which I still cannot believe he took out Zach Eflin in that game, who was grooving. Pitch count was fine. No reason whatsoever. Just did it to do it. And a pinch hitter comes up, bang, smacks one. I've never seen so many horrendous decisions in my life. I'm watching lefties pitch to righties. I'm watching righties pitch to lefties. Archie Bradley against Schwarber and not making the decision to pitch to Conforto earlier in the series, instead pitching to a right-handed. I know that Francisco Lindor is a switch hitter, but that's not my point. You could have pitched to Conforto, but you elect to pitch to Francisco Lindor, and that blows the game again. And it's like, what are we doing? Basic baseball decisions are just getting thought over and overthought, or over managing and overthinking and trying to do too much. It's killing me. It's killing me. So thank you all so much for listening. The Phillies split, and they should have done way better than that. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.